Here is what Revelation assumes you already know. It assumes you see the entire Bible as one unified story, not a collection of religious writings, not isolated books. One continuous drama stretching from Genesis to the prophets, now reaching its final act. John writes Revelation as if his readers are already fluent in the language of Scripture. He doesn't introduce symbols, he echoes them. He doesn't define images, he reuses them. He assumes that when you see certain patterns, your mind will instinctively travel backward through the story. That's why Revelation opens with a dragon and no explanation is given, because the story already began in a garden. Genesis 3 introduced the serpent. Revelation 12 reveals the same enemy, now unmasked. Creation corrupted by deception is now facing final judgment. The story didn't change, it escalated. This is also why the judgments in Revelation feel strangely familiar. The bowls of wrath echo the plagues of Egypt. Water turns to blood, darkness covers the land, death follows rebellion. John never stops to say, this is like the Exodus. He assumes you know, because Revelation is not inventing new judgments, it is replaying old ones on a global scale. The Exodus was never just about Israel leaving Egypt, it was a pattern, a template. God confronting oppressive power, judging false gods, and delivering his people. Revelation takes that pattern and reveals its final fulfillment. The same thing happens with the imagery of provision and reward. Revelation speaks of hidden manna. It speaks of a white stone with a new name. It speaks of the tree of life. None of these are random. Manna takes you back to the wilderness. The white stone echoes covenant and identity. The tree of life returns you to Eden, where the story began. Genesis 2 and 3 are not forgotten chapters. Revelation restores what was lost: access to God, life without curse, communion without separation. And John never explains this because he assumes the reader recognizes the pattern. This is why Revelation feels overwhelming to readers who skip the backstory. Without Genesis, the dragon feels strange. Without Exodus, the plagues feel excessive. Without the prophets, the judgment feels harsh. But with the whole story in view, Revelation stops being confusing and starts being coherent. The prophets had already prepared the language. They spoke of beasts representing empires. They spoke of cosmic judgment. They spoke of a coming kingdom that would crush all rivals. Daniel, Isaiah, Ezekiel, and Zechariah all laid the groundwork. Revelation simply gathers their visions into one final unveiling. And at the center of this unified story stands the Lamb. Revelation assumes you understand covenant, God's promise to Abraham, God's kingdom through David, God's faithfulness to Israel despite rebellion, God's promise of a Messiah who would defeat evil without becoming evil. Revelation reveals that the Messiah is the Lamb who was slain and now reigns. This is the climax of the story. Creation corrupted by sin, humanity enslaved by rebellion, God forming a people, evil rising again and again, and finally, the Lamb confronting every anti-God power that has ever opposed him. This is why Revelation is not a standalone puzzle. It was never meant to be decoded in isolation. It is the grand finale of the Bible's single narrative. Every symbol pulls from earlier chapters. Every image assumes memory. Every vision fulfills a promise already made. John assumes you already know the story because Revelation doesn't introduce a new one, it completes it. The serpent is defeated. The plagues end in freedom. The tree of life stands open again. The kingdom is restored. The Lamb reigns forever. And once you read Revelation as the final act of a unified drama instead of a disconnected mystery, the book stops feeling alien. It feels inevitable.